All right, y'all. So tonight it's one of our in-between teachings. All that means is it's not one of our principles to change. So I'm gonna teach on traffic light foods. Traffic light food might be a foreign concept, but it's something that like Rachel, I think she sent y'all a text to say it allows you to be able to um, master the art of eating all type of foods because, like I said, our program is not on the don't eat this, don't eat that, and trying to restrict you and stuff like that. But we do give you we lean more towards the green light foods and we do give you and what I'm about to give you is how can I eat cakes and cookies and drink pop if I choose to, how can I eat that practically and smart and still am able to reach my goals because you can, okay, but I'm gonna give you some advice and pointers on these foods how they are to be consumed because look, even if you tell me, or even if whatever I tell you to eat, you gonna eat some of these red light foods anyway. And look, you're not in trouble or you're not being bad or nothing like that. It happens to the best. And I don't care how healthy or whatever fit you think I am or look, I tend to eat some of these foods as well. But it's how you eat them and it's not letting them overtake you. And I'm be explaining that as well. Okay. Sometimes people do have to completely avoid them for extended period of time so they can get that completely out of their system because yeah, and I'm gonna break that down, okay? So traffic light foods. So let's start with red light foods, okay? Because those are the foods that are the important foods. A lot of time we struggle with those foods. So red light foods, they are usually our go-to foods when we're upset, angry, depressed, anxious, nervous, stressed, fed up with our day, fed up with life, when we're trying to relax. And all this stuff I can send to you if you want me to via email, just let me know so then you can have it. So if you see some key points, we're going to always open up for discussion. We can get to talking, but you don't got to write down everything word for word. I can easily send this to you. This is something I just created today actually for you all. So it's we're fed up with our day. We just want to relax, so we're relaxing. We are vacationing, partying, late night eating, weekends, and just flat out bored. So we usually consume these foods during those time, majority of the time, probably 90% of the time. That's when we're consuming these foods. We're stressed, upset, angry, depressed. Our day, man, we just want to just relax and don't want to think about anything. Like we're on vacation, partying. So this when we really consume these foods. These particular foods are low in nutrients and low in nutritional value. They're high in things like calories, sodium, fats, and sugars. Those are the things that our body tends to react to when our bodies swell up or our bodies tend to store these things as fat. And it's these type of foods that we're usually doing that. These foods normally don't add value nutritionally to your transformation, and they are highly processed. They could even be the cause of your plateau, overeating, fast eating, you seeing little to no change, and the cause of your food addiction. We usually lack self control over these foods, eat them above and beyond portion size, and throw our mindful eating habits out the window when consuming these foods. We are left asking ourselves a lot of time when we consume these foods, why did I even eat all those? These are, I know I've said that before, these are these red light foods will be foods that we cannot sanely and moderately eat. I'm gonna be saying that over and over again. Red light foods are food that you cannot sanely and moderately eat. So example would be things like cookies, candy, pies, soda, sugar drinks, sugary drinks, ice cream, cakes, burgers, fries, pizza, wings, pastry, chips, and white breads. These are a lot of foods we grew up on. These are a lot of our comfort food. These are a lot of foods that make us feel good, switch up our mood, and everything like that. And a lot of time, these foods, because they lack the nutritional value needed for us to be healthy, they become a hindrance to our transformation. But like again, and I'm gonna get to it, we don't teach you can't have these foods at all. I'm just trying to teach you that it is a red light food, so it's a whoa food. Like, wait a minute, why am I eating this food right now? Am I bored? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Am I at a part? Like, Start noticing where you're at, what you're doing, how you're thinking, because our program is about making you mindful of when you eat these foods. So now I'm about to give you some advice. Like I said, I'm not saying these foods are from the devil and they're out to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not gonna say it's not, but what I am gonna say is that we need to be careful when we eat these foods. So advice would be, before you eat this food, like these real life foods, stop and ask yourself these questions. Why am I eating this? And is there anything else that I could eat that would taste just as good, has some nutritional value to it, and can help me better reach my goals? In order for these red light foods to do no harm to you, so I'm gonna teach you how these foods, because you can eat these foods. And remember, I'm not promoting you to eat these foods, but like I said, I know we're probably gonna eat them anyway. So I'm just trying to give you two advice on how you eat them, when you eat them. So in order for these red light foods to do no harm to you, meaning your health or your goals, these are some things you want to avoid if you can help it. All right. So before I get to that, what do we teach is we don't teach that you can never eat these foods for the rest of your life. One of our goals of this program is to transform the way you view and look at food, and to make green light foods the new norm instead of these red light foods. I'm gonna say that one more time. So the goal of this program is to transform, is not to say you never eat this food. That's why you never hear us saying, dude, like, don't eat this, do this. Like, we don't do that, because that's not practical. You're an adult. You can eat whatever you want to. No one can tell you that. You're not a baby. You know what I'm saying? But our goal is to transform the way you view and look at food, and to make green light foods the new norm instead of these red light foods. So number one, this is one of the things that you can do. So it says, in order for these red light foods to do you no harm, meaning to your health or your goals, these are some things you want to avoid if you can help it. So number one, you don't want to overeat these foods. Okay, so these red light foods, and I know it's hard in the moment and we're stressed out. Like I said, I'm not saying this stuff is easy, but I'm just giving you practical advice that allows you to eat this food that you like and still not harm you. Now, I am gonna say it's not gonna help you. It ain't gonna help out your goal, but sometimes it does. It keep people from going crazy, and that's why we try to change your mind. Like, a piece of chocolate should not keep me from going crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're trying to change your mind to be like, man, if it wasn't for that burger, I would have killed 3 people on the way home. Like, really? Like, we got problems. We need to talk about that. Okay. So number one, we don't want to overeat these. You don't want to overeat anything, but definitely these red light foods. Because the number one reason why most people become overweight is because they overeat. All that means is your body can't process, break down, or utilize the food that you're eating, so it stores it at extra pounds. So we don't want to overeat these red light foods if we do eat them. Number two, you don't want to eat them too fast, meaning you want to mindfully eat them. Number three, you don't want to eat them until you're stuffed, because we don't teach eating until you're stuffed and eating fast. We teach you, when it comes to mindful eating, eat slowly and eat till satisfied. So apply that principle to these foods. Number four, or apply that habit. Number four, you don't want to have these foods in your home. Okay, so if I'm oatmeal cream pie guy, I like oatmeal cream pie. I was born and raised on oatmeal cream pies for some reason, so I like how they taste, right? So I haven't brought a box of oatmeal cream pie probably in about 2-3 years, because I know what I do with a box of oatmeal cream pies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what about? So I don't buy the. So having the food in your home is a no-no. Like I said, I'm trying to give you some practical advice so you can still eat these red light foods and not necessarily harm your goals. Like I said, it won't help you, but it won't harm you. I understand some people have kids, and because of your kids, the foods in the house are the foods that's in the house. But oftentimes, we can control what comes through those doors. Remember who's in charge, okay? You're in charge. I don't care if Daniel want to grab a box. I will slap his little baby hand and tell him, no, you can't have that, boy. So remember, you are in charge of what comes in the house. Don't be like, well, my baby won't eat nothing. Nah, man, you control what comes in and out of those doors, okay? Remember who's in charge. Number five, going to what we call social gatherings, birthday parties, luncheon, luncheons, at work, holidays, restaurant with friends, and taking unhealthy foods home. So taking the foods home would be something you want to avoid. So let's say if I go to a birthday party, or I go to Thanksgiving, or I go to this place or that place, or I'm at work, or whatever the case may be, and they bring this food. Okay, if I decide to eat a piece of pie, I tell you, don't bring the whole pie home. Don't bring half the pie home. Eat the pie at the place and keep the pie there. Okay. Don't bring it home, because guess what? Hey, you might eat it on the way home. You might eat it late night. You might not share it with nobody, and you might just eat it all up. Okay. So don't bring the healthy food home. So don't store it in your home, and don't bring it home from these social gatherings. So I'm not gonna tell a person at their friend's sister birthday party you can't have a piece of cake. Okay. I would love for you to avoid that. But if you have to, okay, eat the cake, but don't bring it home. Number six, making too much of it and storing it in your home. All right. Making too much of it and storing it in your home. So people like to bake and stuff like that. I'm not telling you you can't and stuff like that, but make enough for your family and everybody can get their little piece and stuff like that. But a lot of time when we store those foods and we're not prepared, or we get hungry or something like that, man, we just tends to eat those. So what you can do practically, try to give it away. On worst case scenario, I'm not a big fan of it, but throw it away. So because I'd rather you throw it away than get addicted to it, become super unhealthy. I'm not like promoting waste food, but what I am saying is try to give those things away. So like, let's say if you overbake pies or cookies or cakes or whatever the case is, look, I bet them people at your job ain't got no standards of trying to be crazy healthy. Give it to them. All right. Like they're going to eat it regardless. Give it away. Try to get it out of your home. So these are things to do if you're eating the So now I'm about to. So these those are things you want to avoid. So you want to avoid overeating, eating too fast, eating until stuffed, having the food in your home, going to these places and bringing the food home, and making too much of it and storing it in your home. Okay, you want to avoid doing that. Now, if you do consume the food, what you want to do is you want to use your mindful eating habit. Eat these things slowly. Number one, you want to eat them slowly and until satisfied. This sets you up to listen to your hunger and fullness cues, and this helps you take in less of the unhealthy food and keep you in control of the food. Remember, mindful eating is to put you back in control of you, your body, and your nutrition. Okay. Number two, try to, when you're eating these foods, enjoy the company you're with more than the actual food. So let's say if I'm late night and it's pizza night at my house or whatever the case is. Look, if you're going to eat it, get your slice or two and enjoy your family, enjoy being together, enjoy laughter, be around. Don't eat 9 to 10 pieces. Like, try to enjoy more of the company you're around than the food. Number three, at least wait until you're somewhat hungry before you eat this food. Not starving, because if you're starving, it's gonna be, hey, all bets are off. We're gonna crush that. All right. But rather at least put make sure your hunger is like on a 5 before you eat these foods, because you don't want to be stuffed and then eat these foods, and you don't want to be starving and then eat these foods. Okay, let's say if you eat a good sized meal and then someone wants to get you a little thing of ice cream or whatever, eat it in its proper portion size and make sure you're actually hungry. Don't just stuff it in your face because it's food right there. And you shouldn't do that with no food, but especially these red light foods. Number four, eat less of it than you normally would. This allows you to enjoy the food without regrets. So when it comes to the food, try to eat less of it. All right. If I'm used to eating, let's say, 8 pieces of pizza on a night, go down to 4, go down to 3. Eat less of it and see that, man, I am satisfied by just eating a few of these and not eating the whole thing. Number five, buy just one. If you can, if you got craving for a chocolate bar or chocolate or whatever, buy just one. Don't buy 4 of them, or 5 of them. Or don't, like I said, don't buy the whole box of oatmeal cream pie. Just buy one. Number 6, enjoy it and move on. All right, don't overthink it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't say why did I do, like, don't do all that. All right, enjoy that little thing you wanted and move on. And number 7, ask yourself, could I have done without this food? So eat it, all right? Then could I have done without this food? Did this satisfy me? Did this make that problem really go away? Do I feel that much better now? And was it worth it? Okay, these are a few questions you can ask yourself because then this may cause you to go back the next time you go, look, man, that's crazy. Last time I went to eat that, that ain't do nothing for me, man. Look, you know what? I'm gonna just make another decision, okay? So that's the most extensive traffic light food, which is that red light food, because those are the foods, like I said, that can cause things like the food addictions, the cravings, the throwing our mind for eating out the. I don't never really eat an apple and be like, oh man, like that like I don't ever get cravings and addictions over eating apples. So these foods I just paid a little bit more attention to because they tend to cause us to plateau, overeat, fast eat. They cause food addiction and they cause us to see little to no change. Okay, we lack self control over these foods. So I gave us some advice if we're all going to eat these foods. Now I'm going to the next one, yellow light foods. So these are foods that you want to eat with some meals, but not every meal, as you may or may not eat these foods. I said, and you may or may not eat these foods every day. Too much or too often, these food can start to become unhealthy. So these are yellow light food. The goal is to make sure we enjoy these foods in their proper serving size, just like any food. These particular foods are usually moderate in nutrients and nutritional value, so it has value. Moderate in things like calories, sodium, fats, and sugars. Remember, the other foods were little to no nutritional value, and they were high in sodium, fats, and sugar. These are like moderate in those areas. These food normally can add value nutritionally to your transformation, and they are moderately processed. So there's three levels of something being processed. It's minimally processed, it's moderately processed, then there's heavily processed food. We want to stay away more from the heavily processed foods. Moderately processed food and minimally processed food, those foods that we want to eat. And those are just food that are further and further away from its natural element. Like a perfect example, I always give this example would be a grape. So you got three levels of a grape, right? You got a grape. That would be a green light food. That food is minimally to no process in a grape. Just get the grape and you eat it. All right. So when you come to minimally processed, you take a grape and you turn it into what? A raisin, right? So your raisins would be a yellow light food. It could be possibly be a green light food, just depending. But it's minimal. I mean, it's moderately processed because they have to do some processing to get that grape to a raisin. Then highly processed would be when it could be a red light food, would be raisinets. Raisinets, because it has the raisin and then it has the chocolate on it. Okay. So that's just an easy example of highly processed, moderately processed, and minimally processed. All right. So in these yellow light foods, when choosing between red light and yellow light foods, you want to choose a yellow light food if you can. Common examples of these foods would be ham, bacon, pastrami, processed breakfast cereals, white bread, taco shells, processed cheeses and meats, sour cream, fruit bread like banana bread and stuff like that, homemade pancakes, biscuits, reduced fat yogurts, flavored milk, muffins, and fruit juices. When it comes to yellow light foods, beware. So remember, it's almost like when you come into that light and it starts to turn yellow. I know a lot of us speed up. All right. But when we like, oh shoot, I gotta make it through. But when it comes to eating, what we want to do is we want to beware and remember, come to that yellow light, be cautious, start to slow down, start to be like, all right. So not saying you can't have it or not saying you can't drive, but start to slow down. So when it comes to yellow light foods, beware because foods in this category could become red light foods. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. They could become red light foods if you are not careful. If you eat these foods moderately and sanely, then they can stay on the yellow light food list. Just proceed with caution when consuming them. The moment they become addictive or you find yourself consuming these foods uncontrollably, you then need to take a mental note and move these foods to the red light food group and follow the same advice given in the red light food group. So my personal example is my wife homemade bread. So Rachel makes the bread, homemade bread tastes good. We know everything that goes into it is good. So that's good. That could actually end up being a green light food, right? But I'm a bread guy. So, I'll take the whole bread, I'll eat it. So then instead of it becoming a green light and yellow light food, it then becomes a red light food. Because every time she make the bread, I can't seem to eat it moderately, insanely. It's so good. Put a little bit of my little healthy little butter and stuff on there, and I just eat it, right? So she haven't made the bread, and Lord knows when, okay? Because or when she did go to make it the next time, it was like, okay, instead of making two of them, if you're going to make two, we automatically give one away, and then you just make one of them. Or if you're going to make the one, I'll make sure I take my half, put it here, and we may just give the other half away or something like that. So we can practice damage control. All right. Some foods you just got to practice damage control. All right. Or like she doesn't really make it as much as she used. So that's my personal example of how a food can go from a yellow green light style of food to a red light food. I took a mental note that dang, I can't eat this sanely and moderately. I like to eat it. So I'm gonna try to take all these steps if I do eat it. But I just go without it now. I'm not saying you have to go without it. You can break it down and use a lot of your advice I gave you in the red light. But that was my personal example. So you take inventory. What foods that you could be considered yellow light food, but if you see yourself, I can't stop eating it. You know what I'm saying? And that food, I don't care how healthy it is. I don't care if it's dark chocolate, which is chocolate is from a plant. So the darker the chocolate is, it's considered a healthy fat. But if you can't control yourself, that food becomes a red light food. You just need to be super cautious of it. I don't care how healthy it is. Last list is the green light foods. So your green light foods would be your go-to food. You see that green light, ain't no slowing down. I don't care if we're in the school zone. It's like, nah. But you see the green light, you just go, right? You go for it. Eat these foods as part of your everyday meals. These foods offer the best balance of nutrients and energy and are higher in essential vitamins, minerals, and fibers. These particular foods are usually higher in nutrients and nutritional value, lower in things like calories, sodium, fats, and sugars. Okay. So they're more nutrient dense than your yellow light foods and your green light foods. And that's going to be important. I'm going to tell you why. These foods always add value nutritionally to your transformation, and they are minimally processed. When choosing between the traffic light foods, we recommend that you choose the green light foods on a daily, and key word, consistent, is all about consistency, not perfection. So a daily consistent basis, still in proper serving size. However, if you do overeat these foods, they won't affect you as bad, but always remember, too much of a good thing is still too much. Always remember that. So, a common example of these foods would be your lean proteins, smart carbohydrates, healthy fats, and colorful fruits and veggies. Greek yogurt, lean beef and pork, chicken, steak, seafood, brown rice, whole grain breads and wraps, sweet potatoes, fruit, fresh, frozen, or dry, peas, corn, spinach, kale, green beans, seeds, dark chocolate, nuts and nut butters, avocados, etc. These are your green light foods. These green light foods are usually the foods that we can eat sanely and moderately, and they don't bring with them food addictions and cravings. These foods leave you feeling satisfied, accomplished, healthy, and full of energy. These are the foods that we most oftentimes than not never regret eating. I never ate a banana and said, "Oh my goodness, can't believe I ate that banana. That was so stupid of me." Like we don't do that when it comes to the healthy foods. These foods can even be eaten late at night. So when you're like, man, I'm hungry late at night, da da da, we go for the red light foods when we really should go for these green light foods. Okay. So these foods can never be, I'm sorry, these foods can even be eaten late at night if you are legitimately hungry. So don't just eat because they're there. Because if you eat just because they're there and you're not hungry, then that food gonna store as fat. if you are legitimately hungry in their proper serving sizes, and it won't have a negative impact on your transformation. These are the foods that can help you reach your goals and keep you on the upward path of being healthy when designed to obtain your goals and reach optimal health. Usually, our goals as you work your way through the transformation group is to consume 3 to 5 servings of these food groups per day, ensuring that you are getting all of the proper vitamins and minerals your body needs to be healthy. Secret to being healthy is in the nutrients. These green light foods will never steer you wrong. So, the more nutrients a person has in their body, the healthier they usually are, because these nutrients, you ever heard of antioxidants? That is fighting the oxidation, or let's just say the rust that's trying to form in your body. So your fruits and your berries have those type of chemicals in there that will make you healthier. So that's why the more you consume these foods, the more healthier you are, because these foods will go into your body, and these foods will fight off a lot of outside influences that's trying to make you sick and things like that. So the more nutrients we get in our body, that's why we say eat these foods 3 to 5 servings. They are alive. They're working with your body. They're not dead. They're not useless. Like a cake doesn't really work with my body. You know why I eat cake? Because it tastes good. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't really work with my body. But look, I tell you what, it's a million healthy foods that taste good as well. But like I said, our program of eating the cake, pies, and cookie just come from us, how we was raised, and it's just ingrained in us. When we want to relax and feel good, I eat this food. I never really associated healthy foods with wanting to relax and feel good, which you do feel better after you eat the healthy foods than the crappy foods though. But that's the traffic light teaching right there. So our goal when it comes to the traffic light foods is so that we can teach you how to eat all types of foods, But like I said, our program is based off of desiring you to stick more to the green light food, but we can teach you how to eat all type of foods and still reach your goals. And then we get to the point where if I'm constantly consuming these red light foods and I'm not getting closer to my goals, then I got to say, okay, what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to sacrifice? I might not be willing to give up my Friday night pizza. So then we can teach you how to make that healthier. Instead of going out, let's make it at home. I just had a talk with a guy in the group about that, and we broke that down, and that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? But the yellow light, green light food, we really desire for you to consume, because we know that they're going to be healthier and they're going to allow you to transform. Um, they're going to allow you to make your transformation last.